is no different. I see a lot of guests today, and I would like to call upon a few guests just to introduce themselves. What are they doing in their what are they doing right now? Where did you get to know about Toastmasters? So I'm just gonna pinpoint a few members, and I wish they could unmute themselves and give us this information. To start with, I'd like to call upon guest Priyanka. Guest Priyanka, can you please unmute yourself and tell us what you do and where you got to know about Toastmasters?
Hi, this is Priyanka Bamalwa. So I have heard a lot about Toastmasters from my few friends and family members as well, and I really wanted to join and attend some of the meetings to get an idea how does it work. So I have joined as a guest here, and I'm new in Calcutta. I got married here, so I'm basically from Jaipur, but so it's completely new for me here. So I'm trying to just get in touch with new people and joining some of the groups to uh, make some friends, and I've heard a lot about Toastmasters. So my family was also part of these groups. That is why. Yes,
Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
Toastmaster. Thank you so much, guest Priyanka, maybe soon to be Toastmaster. And I hope you really enjoy the meeting. Well, Priyanka
Thank
Bamalwa,
you.
right? Yeah, Priyanka Bamal,
Right.
right? Bamalwa is a real
Yes.
special name in Kolkata Toastmasters Club, let me assure you that.
And thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Moving ahead, I see Mohit Kadel. Yes, Mohit, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Hi, hi Mohit. What do you do? What are you doing right now? Where did you get to know about Toastmasters? Please, something about you.
I'm currently pursuing BCom with CA, and
Okay.
I heard about Toastmasters from my brother. So he used to attend meetings in Toastmaster earlier, and he said me that it's a good platform on which you can develop your communication skills. That's why I wanted to join this. So I thought I would see some of the meetings and know more
Yes.
about it.
Yes. Well, this is the place if you want to improve public speaking, and then this is surely the place you have to be. And BCom plus CA, it's quite a combination. So kudos to you for doing that, and
Thank you.
I really hope that you enjoy the meeting. Moving ahead, I'm gonna call one more guest. Let me see who that is, and I see guest Meghna Agarwal. Guest Meghna.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Miss Meghna. Hi. So, what are you
Hi.
doing? Where did you get to know about Toastmasters?
I'm in my final year of my BCom, and I got to know about Toastmasters from my friends. So I'm here to improve my communication skills and make a lot of new friends.
All right. So, I really hope you enjoy the meeting as well, guest Meghna. And to move on, well,
Thank you.
Toastmaster Gurpreet is really excited about the meeting. He's got this new, weird, and he's not even letting me invite the G, and he wants to give a prepared speech altogether right now. Well, this was the president's role, and now I'm not gonna give an introduction because I'm the Toastmaster today, and it will be really weird for me to introduce myself. So I'm gonna gradually change myself into the role of the Toastmaster of the day, and the theme for today is the millionaire next door. Each and every one of you, income, expenditures, savings. When we talk about millionaire next door or maybe personal finance, these are the words that come to our minds. But trust me, your income expenditures don't really determine how much you're going to make in life or how much successful or at peace regarding your finance or bank situation, whatever it is, how much you're going to be at peace with this kind of terms in your life. It doesn't really matter how much you earn or how much you spend. What matters is how much you save. And thanks to this lockdown, that I started this new habit of reading. And when I started this new habit of reading, I have been trying to read a variety of books, variety of genres. And I came through this book which my brother recommended me, which was named The Millionaire Next Door. When I started reading this book, it was a book full of facts. And for a reader who's trying to read new books, who's trying to read books that develop that habit, facts are boring, right? It's nothing that you want to read and you want to continue reading. These are just facts. You can get these facts anywhere. This is what I thought. But when I gradually advanced with this book, I realized that its true potential, things that it can teach me. And it really taught me things which my parents used to tell me, but I never believed in them. Let me share a small example with my personal life as well. I'm not going to take names, but I have two uncles. Both they earn a lot, right? They earn a lot. But one of them, I don't know how to put that, so they earn a lot. So one of them loves luxury items, right? Maybe cars, watches, a luxury lifestyle. And the other one likes those kind of life, but he also understands the value of saving, the value of investing, having a plan for the future. Today, one of my uncles, who I said who loved buying expensive stuffs and all and didn't really focus on the future, he's facing financial problems, and he completely invited those problems for himself because of the habits, the spending habits that he had for himself. Leave aside the spending habits, the lack of proper planning that he had in his life. He didn't plan for anything in the future. He may have earned a lot of money, but without planning, you cannot do anything. On the other hand, the other uncle that I had, he earned a lot. He used to spend. He spent for things which he wanted, but he also realized that it is important for him to save and plan for the future. And today, he's probably in such a comfortable position that even if he doesn't earn, his money earns for him, and he can fund his life. He can fund generations to come just by doing nothing. Now, that is the kind of financial planning we are talking about. Financial planning doesn't really mean taking out some amount of money and just putting it in your bank account or maybe on stocks, not wondering that where am I investing. Financial planning is a little deeper than what we think. Financial planning is a whole new course, is a whole new stream of profession that people kind of have. So if you think that financial planning is something that you can do just by just looking at CNBC and which stocks to invest in, and sorry for that, someone, and which stocks to invest in and which bank account to just put your money in, which is safe. Financial planning is much more deeper than that. Well, we'll talk about the theme a little more in the times to come. But right now, I'm going to explain you how a Toastmasters meeting works like. A Toastmasters meeting comprises of 3 sessions. The first one being the one when you actually strategize your finances, you plan, you prepare how you want to plan your finances, what are the things you want to plan for, maybe your retirement or your child's education. It is where you prepare your finances, you prepare a plan, the way you want to lead your life, the finances, and that's a preparation is also done in one of our sections called the prepared speech section, where we have 3 eloquent speakers today who have prepared and put in a lot of effort to prepare the speeches and will be delivering them. The second section is called the table topic section. Now, for some people, this is one section you're probably going to log out. This is one section we're probably going to turn off your camera. But this is also one section that can improve your communication skills and take it to a whole new level. For some people who have actually inculcated those impromptu speaking skills, thinking on the feet, this is more fun session for them. And this is one session that prepares you for anything that comes, right? You're not prepared for something, but you still have a task to do. You have a challenge in front of you. This is that section that prepares you for that challenge. And the third and the final section, which is called the heart of every Toastmaster section, is called the evaluation section. You plan your finances, but sometimes you go like, I have to buy this stuff. Let me just not save this month. I'll try saving it next month, right? And these are things that we do wrong. And we have someone who's concerned to right this wrong and explain us where exactly did we go wrong and how we can become better at this. And this is the evaluation section. The person who will be conducting the evaluation section is someone whom, when I asked that what is the most important thing in financial planning, right? What is that something that you want to give to the audience? He told me that the entire thing is very important, but it is really very important for you to be frugal, right? So with a huge round of applause, can we have our general evaluator for the evening, Toastmaster Achyut Todi? The stage is all yours.
Can we please continue the round of applause for our stand-in president and our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari. This is great. I mean, especially in this time of social distancing, hearing in-person applause, although it's over video, but thanks to better ICT, we're quite close, right? And this is what kickstarts a great Friday. Coming back to the core crux of our meeting. Today, when our Sergeant at Arms was reading out the promise, coincidentally, the point which fell upon me was to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow. I couldn't have a better line summarizing what evaluation means to a Toastmasters meeting and what my role as the general evaluator is going to entail. This is alluding to the theme which Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari talked about. I believe one of the key things for any millionaire, or rather anyone who wants to be successful in life, is self-improvement. Within Toastmasters, we all have our different goals for speaking. And some of them were very clearly articulated. I want to reach so and so path, finish X number of speeches, or some of them are more competency based, where we want to see ourselves improve. Today, our evaluation section is essentially a means to help all of us figure out how we can improve or how we can embrace and reinforce our good points, focus on the not so good areas so that we can improve and make sure that they aren't our blind side, and finally challenge ourselves. Move to that uncomfortable place because that's where the growth happens. To do this, we have a team of different role players who will focus on specific aspects of improvement. First up, I would like to call the parliamentarian for the day. Is my audio there, or have I lost everybody?
Yes, you're audible. You're completely audible.
Okay. So it seems like we've lost the parliamentarian.
Good evening, everyone. Once again. So I am the parliamentarian for today, and the parliamentarian norms for today's meeting are kindly don't prompt the speaker without the prior permission of the president. Show a virtual thumbs up whenever the word of the day is pronounced, and kindly applaud every speaker virtually using a thumbs up or a clap whenever a speaker finishes his speech. And don't prompt the speaker without the prior permission of the president, and kindly use all the Toastmaster related term in full forms like distinguished Toastmasters and Toastmaster. I will present my report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Parliamentarian Toastmaster Sumit. Just a quick point to add for a smooth flow of the meeting. Zoom has a great chat feature, but I request all of us to use it judiciously, and usage of it at inappropriate times might be distracting to the speaker, definitely because of the notification, and also to the audience, because then they might not be able to be 100% there for the speech. That said, it's not as restricted to not use it, so please feel free to use it in the intermittent times. After this, we have the timer for today, Toastmaster Deepak. Can you please explain your role, please?
Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Now, one of the most important things is time, because the early you start saving and investing, the value of it grows exponentially because of the compounding effect. So I would request everyone to please value time as much as you can. And for that, I will help you with the timings of your speech here, at least. So the timing of the prepared speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, where at the minimum time, I will flash green color on my virtual background. That is on 5th minute. On 6th minute, that is on mean time, I will flash yellow color. And on maximum time, I will flash red color. In table topics, I will flash green color on minimum time. On mean time, that is 2.5 minutes, I will flash yellow. And on 1 minute, I'll flash green. On 1.5 minutes, I will flash yellow. On 2 minutes, I will flash red. And on evaluation, I'll flash green color on 2 minutes, yellow color on 2.5 minutes, and red color on 3 minutes. And there is an upper and lower bound on time limits of 30 seconds on prepared speeches and on evaluations, whereas in table topics, you will just have 30 seconds on the upper hand side only. In case you take extra time or take less time than the lower bound, you will be disqualified. So I hope you will value and soon enjoy a nice house with the Golden Gate Bridge. By the way, this is just fake. Thank you so much.
Thank you, our timer all the way from San Francisco. Next up, we have our third role player for the evening, the R counter, Toastmaster Anam.
Yes, thank you, General Evaluator. As the counter for the day, I will be counting all the filler words used in the sentences by the speakers while giving their speech. So these filler words, they only act like hindrances and they obstruct the smooth flow of the speech. Some of these filler words are on your screen right now. So like actually. So I hope all of you all get a smooth green line in my report. Thank you and all the best. I will present my report when called upon to do so. Thank back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aram, for bringing back the nostalgic days of green and red ink denoting areas of improvement for us as it was back in school. Finally, we have the last, but we have a Toastmaster who's had donning two roles today in the evaluation team, Toastmaster Komal Churaria.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good morning. I'm sorry. Good evening, Kolkata Toastmasters Club, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I am the grammarian for the day and the wow counter also. That itself is a wow factor for me. I'm being able to play two roles. As the grammarian of the day, I select a word which I've already posted on the chat box. You are expected to use that word of the day, which is peak, which means to arouse interest or curiosity. The part of speech is it's a verb and it can be used as our interest peaked when the master of ceremonies introduced the theme of the day. Whenever the word of the day is used, I request all of you to show a thumbs up if you're on video or use the chat, the emoticon which is there so that you can acknowledge the person who is using the word of the day since it's not an easy task. The next task as a grammarian for me is to note down the not so good usages of grammar and the good usages of grammar, which can be good structuring, good word usage of good words, alliterations, and good phrases and idioms. I'm here to improve your vocabulary and your grammar. As the wow counter of the day, I am here to note down all the wow moments that happen during the meeting. The wow moment for my today's day was when I made Vittergard. I made Karela today, and all my siblings tried it and they loved it. That was a wow factor for me and a wow moment for me because I really went, wow. And I was surprised. So in today's meeting, if there's anything that amazes me, surprises me, makes me laugh, makes me smile, inspires me or motivates me, I'm going to note all of that down. And at the end of the meeting, when I'm called upon to do so, I'll present my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And that caps our evaluation team. Without further delay, I would like to call upon the Toastmaster. Sorry, just 1 second, everyone. Rahul, I just have one slight deviation from the norm. Okay, so to make things interesting, I have one idea that I want to experiment with our meeting today. In the evaluation section, we have one lead evaluator, which they share their feedback for 2 to 3 minutes. Post which, what I'd like to increase our audience interaction, what I would love for us to have is one person following the lead evaluator volunteer for just a minute, for just under a minute, to share one commendation and 1 point of recommendation for the speaker. So the order which will follow in the evaluation section is you have a lead evaluator, they wrap up, and then we have one person who volunteers. They can please ping me on personal chat to avoid any confusion, and this would help carry it out smoothly. With this, we wrap up our evaluation introduction and back to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari.
And we keep it going for our general evaluator, Toastmaster Achut Todi. Well, honestly, before diving into the prepared speeches, Toastmaster Komal said that she made bitter gourd and she was like, wow. But the only thing that came to my mind was how? Who likes bitter gourd? But anyway, before we dive into the prepared speech section, there's something that the timer missed and he had notified me to inform you all is that when the speaker is about to start, we request all the three speakers to pin the timer so that they can see the cards that are being flashed properly. To start with, our first speaker, before I introduce the first speaker, I'd like to call upon his evaluator to read out the speech objectives, and that will be Toastmaster Piyush Jain. Toastmaster Piyush, can we please have the speech objectives?
Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, one and all present today. The speaker is delivering his level 2 project 2 speech from the Pathways Dynamic Leadership under the Pathways curriculum of Toastmaster International. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different communication style and identify his or her primary style. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share the impact of his or her style on others. Timer, please note, the time for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Good luck to the speaker and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Piyush. Well, I have cousins who are chartered accountants and they can really give advice on anything. They are chartered accountants, but they can also give advice for people who are doing engineering, for people who are pursuing maybe sports or anything else. But chartered accountants love to give advice. But when I asked our first speaker that what is the most important thing in financial planning that you would like to give to the audience, he said that he wants advice. And I think that is the path of a chartered accountant where he learns a lot and then he is in a position to give advice to each and every one of us. So with a huge round of applause, let's call our first speaker, one of the young guns of Kolkata Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Raghav, not so direct, who's mentored by distinguished Toastmaster Siddharth Chodiwal. Toastmaster Raghav, not so direct. Not so direct, Toastmaster Raghav, the stage is all yours.
Raghav, you
Raghav,
are on mute.
You're on mute.
Hello.
Yeah.
A very good evening to all the Toastmasters present here. Why we communicate? It is to build an interpersonal relationship. How we communicate? It depends on what type of relation we want to develop. We change our tone and style of communication as the situation demands, but we always have that one basic style which we either have born with or have developed over time. It's like an Indian roaming around the world, enjoying different cultures, but in his heart, he will always enjoy his own culture more. I too communicate as the situation demands. With my seniors, I talk differently. With my colleagues, I talk differently. And with my subordinates, I talk differently. But my basic style is direct communication. And I think it is the best style of communication there can be. Let me tell you why. When I used to work with my father in our family business, I noticed that I used to approach every people in a very direct manner and not talk about here and there stuff a lot. This made me save a lot of time and made me complete a lot of work in a timely manner as I didn't engage in mindless conversations with every one of them. Another thing which direct communication helps in is giving proper information and not confusing people. During those days when I was working with my father, I had a job of organizing a stock taking process for which I had a whole plan ready. Now, the problem was I was a bit hesitant in telling my employees on how to do the work and what exactly I wanted from them. So I told them in a very polite and friendly manner by twisting my plan here and there. The work they did was pathetic because the explanation I did was very pathetic. I had to call them again and tell them directly exactly what I wanted from them, and then they did the work which I wanted from them. So, in short, direct communication has made me save a lot of time and tell people exactly what I want from them. Direct communication has helped me in a lot of ways, but has even slowed my progress in a lot of ways. Whenever I used to visit with my father to any of our customers, my father used to engage in various topics and talk to them about hair and their stuff and engage in mindless conversations. Whenever I used to visit, I didn't talk about hair and their stuff and only worked and only talked about work, and that too, point to point. This made me realize that I was not able to make good relations with them. So I understood and a, initiated a change in my habit. And I started realizing that I needed to bring a change in my style of communication so that I can able to initiate conversations with those people to form a good relation. Another thing with communication is that sometimes you need to tell people various stuff in a very honey dipped manner. Suppose you have a friend and he's just had a breakup or has been rejected by a girl. You tell them in a very honey dipped manner that, bro, it's okay. It will all work out. But as I'm not able to tell them in a this manner, honey dipped manner, I tell them in a very direct way that, bro, you should have realized it at the first place that she was way out of your league. This has backfired on me a lot of times. At the present moment, I'm pursuing CA and doing articleship in a CA firm. And often I have to deal with the junior articles who report their work to me. My seniors tell them and teach them in a very polite manner so that they understand the work and learn how to work. But because I'm not able to talk a very honey drip manner and talk about hair and their stuff, I tell them very directly that, bro, the work is shit and it couldn't have been more worse. Now I realize that this has backfired on me because I too have made those mistakes and have been taught by someone very politely. But as I'm not able to talk in that way, I tell them in a very direct manner, which I know hurts them a lot. By making these mistakes, I have realized that I need to bring a change in my style of communication. What I thought before, that direct communication was the best style there can be, was at last not so best. I had to pursue a not so direct way of communication. So, by seeing all the ways of communication that was mentioned in the questionnaire there, I chose an initiating style of communication and a supportive style of communication. This initiating style of communication has taught me that it is not bad and it's very good to initiate communication with people, as it helps you in forming good relations with a lot of them. Supportive style of communication has taught me that it's very good to give them assurance and form a trust in relation, because without trust there can be no relation. This journey of communication will be a very challenging one, and I will have to learn a lot of things to become an effective and efficient communication. But this journey will be a two-sided stuff, because it will teach me to become a good communicator, but also teach me a lot of things about myself. So I'm very excited for this communication journey, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Raga, for that excellent speech. Yes, I completely agree with you. It is very important to know your communication style, because communication is is a thing that you connect with other people. And unless you know the proper style that you have, that you can use it effectively, I think it doesn't take you at the right way. Moving ahead, we have the second speaker. And before introducing the second speaker, I would like to call upon his evaluator. That will be Toastmaster Naren. Toastmaster Naren, can you please unmute yourself and tell us the speech objectives?
Yes, thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Today's speaker is Mr. Gurpreet Singh, and the purpose statement of Gurpreet's speech is the purpose of the project is for the member to understand the types of persuasive speeches and deliver a persuasive speech at a club meeting. It's very important for one to be persuasive if one wants to be a millionaire. So all the best to the speaker.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Naren. And when I asked the next speaker that what is the most important thing in financial planning, that why is financial planning so important, he told me something that is that sums up what I wanted to explain, in what I want to explain throughout this meeting. He told me that it doesn't matter how much money you make right now. What matters is how much money you've made for the future. It is important for you to plan through generations, plan for your retirement, rather than spending what you make right now. So, mentored by distinguished Toastmaster Archita Tiwari and one of the most charming personalities in Kolkata Toastmasters Club, can we have a huge round of applause for our second speaker, Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh, with the speech title Love Thy Neighbor? Love Thy Neighbor. Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh, the stage is all yours.
Oh, 1 second. I'm actually using my neighbor's Wi-Fi and it's fluctuating. Okay, I think yes, this is the correct position where I find network. So ladies and gentlemen, I had invited my friend Kavita over to my place for my wife's birthday. And amidst the fun and frolic, I suddenly noticed that my friend Kavita was talking to her husband Rakesh in a serious tone. And after the small talk, Rakesh immediately left the party while Kavita sat back, sipping her soup. Good evening, Madam President, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. Kavita's behavior piqued my curiosity. I walked over to her to inquire if everything was okay. I left the milk to boil and forgot to turn off the gas. The next door auntie got the smell of the burning milk. She called me up, so Rakesh has gone to turn off the gas. Is that it? Thank God auntie noticed the smell. However, I am worried now. She will lecture me about this carelessness of mine. But why are you even worried about the next door auntie? Listen, when you have neighbors who have their eyes and ears at your doors 24 hours, you got to feel panicked. And trust me, we don't even need CCTV cameras at home. I was flabbergasted upon hearing this from my friend Kavita. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, there are people who devote maximum amount of time poking about their noses in your affairs. The Times of India in the year 2018 published an article which clearly stated that 42% Indians visit their neighbors twice a week. Guess why? To spy on their neighbors. Interesting. In fact, these are the very people, these are the very people who keep a track of when and who came to your place. They keep a tab of the amount of time that person spent at your place. And if you are unfortunate enough to employ the same maid in the locality, trust me, they are going to use her as an optimum drone to keep themselves updated about all the latest happenings at your household. I'm sure all of us out here have that one wireless CCTV camera in our neighborhoods. And of course, there is another category of neighbors who keep a track of all the latest shopping expedition. And the very next day, they go to the market and purchase the same thing and something more expensive. They have this uski sari, meri sari se safed kaise, how is her sari whiter than mine attitude. And if you are an introvert, beware of the ones who will pop up at your door with the most angelic smile saying, "Yahan se guzar rahe the, socha ek bar hi bol de." Was passing this way, thought about greeting you. And before you can react, they are hovering all around the place, looking at your stuff and murdering your right to privacy. And then, of course, there are those hidden gems in your neighborhood who for some reason couldn't join national politics. They are the ones who resolve all social disputes in the neighborhood. They are the ones who organize annual festivities like cultural programs, pujas, and what's not, and arrange facilities for the neighborhood. And of course, how can you forget those aunties who unofficially run a matrimonial agency in your neighborhood? Beta, shadi kab kar rahe ho? Son, when are you getting married? Now, if you fall for this, Be ready for the next question in line. Beta, good news kab de rahe ho? Son, when are you giving us good news? And if you fall for this also, be ready for the next nuclear weapon that's in queue. Beta, bachche ko bhai behan kab de rahe ho? Son, when are you providing a sibling to your child? Ladies and gentlemen, the list is endless. And last but not the least, there is another category who makes a lot of effort to wake up early in the morning with a basket in one hand and a stick in the other. Now, this stick has an angle made out of wire. They have this unmatching skill of pointing this stick right over the fence of the neighbor's garden, pluck the freshly bloomed flowers for their beloved deity. This species is particularly found in India, ladies and gentlemen. That too during the festive season, you can locate them from the balcony of your houses. And you can spot them between 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. So ladies and gentlemen, if I have been able to persuade you with logic and figures how over-friendly neighbors can become, if I have been successful enough to help you imagine in your mind, to help you recall that face in your neighborhood who displays one of these traits, please feel free to unmute yourselves and respond with a yes. Can I have a yes if you do feel it has been so?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, a big yes.
So much. So it means that we are on the same plate. We are on the same page. But, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how much humor we draw out of our variety of neighbors, you and I need them. Don't we all aspire for a friendly neighborhood when we look for a new place to stay? Isn't a friendly neighbor a key requirement for our peaceful existence? You might spend, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of money in the interior decoration of your room. But if you are deprived of a friendly neighbor, you are deprived physically, psychologically, as well as financially. So the next time you complain that your neighbor is over-friendly, I tell you, you ensure that you use this friendliness of your neighbor and ensure that they don't set a Wi-Fi for their... No, my neighbor hasn't. So ensure that they don't set a password for their Wi-Fi. What do you say, Toastmaster of the day?
Whoa. Can we, no, not like this, not like this. Can we please unmute ourselves and give a huge thunderous round of applause for Toastmaster Gurpreet.
Thank you so much.
One of the best Toastmaster speeches I have seen in recent times, or maybe all the speeches I have seen. I genuinely thank my lucky stars that I'm not evaluating him. And I'm really sorry for Naren today. Wow, what a speech. To move ahead, I don't want to move it. I could have just kept listening to Gurpreet today. But every good thing has to end. But we are now moving ahead to the next good thing. That is our third speaker. Before calling a third speaker, can he call his evaluator? And that will be distinguished Toastmaster Siddharth Churiwal.
Hi, Toastmaster Rahul. I believe I am poised to evaluate Toastmaster Prajwal. Achyut
Okay,
here.
so you'll be taking
Yeah,
it, right?
I was informed, so we just like to confirm if there's any change in plan, that's fine.
I was just informed DTM Siddharth, but he's not here in the meeting. So
Okay, great,
without
cool.
wasting time, I'll give it to you. So can we please have the speech objectives?
Sure. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Our third speaker for today is going to be delivering their seconds. Sorry, I have 3 evaluation forms open, so I'm in a little bit of a mess. Our third speaker for today will be delivering the project. Understand your communication style. The 2 statements for this are for the member to learn about their different communication styles and then identify their primary style, and also share the impact that their style might have had on others. The timing for this speech is 5 to 7 minutes, and all the best to the speech.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Achyut, for taking up that evaluation. When I asked the speaker that what is the most important thing in financial planning, he told me that most of the times most of the time you should spend on what you need, not on what you want. And I read this quote, which I can relate with when I read what he said, that if you buy things that you don't need, very soon you will have to you will have to sell things which you need. Mentored by Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra, the next speaker is Toastmaster Prajwal Ghosh with the speech title, That's Just the Way I Am. People need to get used to me. That's just the way I am. People need to get used to me. Toastmaster Prajwal, the stage is all yours.
Good evening, Mr. Toastmasters and fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Have you ever been around people who say whatever they think without any consideration for the appropriateness of their remarks? Let me ask this question to Toastmasters Rahul Maheshwari.
Toastmaster Prajwal, I have done it myself. I have seen other people doing it as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Perhaps you finally decided to approach them about their lack of tact, but received the response, That's just the way I am. People need to get used to me. Contrary to what most people think, communication style is not exclusively determined by personality. It is also affected by the choices I have learned to make by watching others. Trial and error attempts, parental influences, and a variety of life experiences. I think communication style is a choice. For example, how I choose my words, how loudly I speak, timing of the conversation, and the strategies I use to influence others. These choices affect whether or not people hear our point or are disgusted by it. When I make wrong communication choices, people have two thoughts. Number one, why is the person acting this way? And number two, why is this person treating me this way? If my improper communication style becomes listeners' focus, the point I am trying to make is ignored. Unfortunately, I am not always conscious of the choices I am making. I have had conversations in which my emotions dissected my behavior. Also, I have had conversations in which I listened intently and failed to monitor how am I delivering that message to the audience. For example, during my last conversation with someone at my office, am I aware of what my facial expression was saying? Let me tell you from my experience, much of our communication behavior is difficult to self-monitor. Most of our communication choices have become a habit. We are not thinking of how we are being perceived, but instead are communicating on impulse. We are not thinking about listeners' opinions, only about what opinions we feel compelled to state. Therefore, one day I have realized that learning the four communication styles and the positive and negative impacts of these style choices on others is critical too in the personal and professional life. Number one, the clarity of our communication. Number two, the quality of the connection we have with others. Number three, our credibility. And number four, the last one is the potency of our influential messages. Each style can have both positive and negative impacts depending on how style is used, in what situation you use it. Trust is a critical factor in making decisions about how to communicate with others. Think of someone whom you don't trust. Your communication with that person is limited, guarded, and skeptical, isn't it? Trust changes everything in relationships. This is the main reason why making effective communication behavioral choices are so important. When people are focusing on how poorly they are being treated in an interaction, they don't accept the point being made. Even if that point provides the solution to every problem on the plan, why trust someone's idea when you don't trust that person to communicate fully with you? Open style communications use trust as a guide for their choices. Ask yourself, will my style, my words improve or maintain trust? If your answer is yes, then you most likely have chosen your approach carefully and you will be communicating in a way that is clear, respectful, and influential. However, there are times when our communication style should be more closed. Have you ever walked out of a meeting regretting that you said everything you were thinking and feeling without filters? That was a situation in which sitting back and analyzing what people are saying, then deciding how to respond would have been the better choice. But this closed communication style can be used to extreme, causing listeners frustration. Have you ever sat through one of those presentations? How much of all that detail did you absorb? This style is very close to my heart. However, because the best example I have experienced of this style is my amazing businessman grandfather. As I write this or as I read this, speak this commentary, today is his 101st birthday. Yes, you got it right. 101 years old with a mind that is just as sharp and analytical as it ever was. People sometimes think that it is his age that prompts his long explanations, but I assure you, it is his detail-oriented thinking process that drives the beginning to end of the story approach. We tend to communicate the way we think. For those of us who have these detail-oriented tendencies, we need to understand that not everyone or the desire to grasp everything we are presenting. We need to learn to edit. Once we do this, it will be easier for us to focus on the most important information. Ladies and gentlemen, make decisions faster, speak up more quickly, and ensure our opinions are being heard and considered. Remember, too much detail will reach your point. If we choose not to put forth this effort and instead stay in the this is the way I am, get used to me mindset, we are communicating to others that genuine connection with them is not worth the effort. That they are not worth our effort. Is that really the impact you want to have in your personal professional life? Over to you, Toastmasters of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Prajwal. Can we have a huge round of applause for Toastmaster Prajwal? You've delivered a really impactful speech, Toastmaster Prajwal, today. And a really happy birthday to your grandfather.
Thank you.
Moving ahead, we are done with the prepared speech session. But before moving ahead to the next section, there's a story that I would like to share with you. I had read it in an article that there was this guy in South Africa who started earning at the age of 22. And he had planned his finances, he had planned his future brilliantly. In such a way that at the age of 30, this person achieved financial freedom. And how did he do that? He was very frugal with what he had to spend on and how he had to plan his finances. So what he did was, whatever income he had from the age of 22 to the age of 30, 70% of that income he used to first set aside an amount for savings and investment, and the rest he used to spend. Whichever way he has to manage, he used to manage. But he used to set aside 70% of his income and invest all of those every month for the next 8 years into fixed income securities, neither bonds or debentures, for 8 years. And at the age of 30, he achieved financial freedom. He doesn't have to worry about anything in his life now. He worried about all this in that crucial year when you start earning, but you also have that mindset that you have to spend a lot because you have the money now. This person took care of his future and planned everything today. And when I asked our table topic master the same question that what is the most important thing in financial planning, she gave me the same answer. She said that it is important to take care of the future and not think about the present. The present is just a path for you to create a better future. Use it for that purpose only. With a huge round of applause, let us fall upon our table topic master and have a fun session of table topic and impromptu speeches. Toastmaster Anisha Agarwal.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul, for the wonderful introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I'm the table topic master for today, and the purpose of this session is to think on feet and develop the impromptu skills. There are certain rules and regulations to be followed during the meeting. Is the topic, the point number one, the topic will be repeated only twice, and if the speaker forgets the topic or gets stuck in between, no one from the audience and not even the table topics master is to prompt or make any gestures to the speaker. Point number two, the guests are also allowed to participate in it, but they are requested to mention their names first to enable the role players to fulfill their roles effectively. Point number three, the time given is 1 to 2 minutes. I would request the timer to show the green card in 1 minute, yellow card in 1 minute 30 seconds, and the red card in 2 minutes. And there is a grace period of 30 seconds on the upper side. Then point number three, like you may raise your hand or type your name in the below chat box to volunteer for the topic, and if no one volunteers, I have the liberty to choose anyone from the session. And point number four, like guests are allowed to change their topic twice. So as we start, I would be needing some volunteer, or I have the liberty to choose anyone. So can I get a raise of hands? Okay, Toastmaster Rahul. So, Toastmaster Rahul, your topic is, should working from home be the new standard? Should working from home be the new standard? Over to you, Toastmaster Rahul.
This lockdown gave me a time to think about a lot of things. And one of the things that I thought about was planning a new business, or starting a new business of my own. When I started this business, there were a lot of questions in my mind that what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? But the most important question in the light of recent events of coronavirus was that where am I going to work? Office or at home? So for the past 7 months, I have been working at home, and it was a very comfortable position to work in. But recently, in this week, I started going to office. I started working, and what I have noticed is going to office is tough. Sitting 9 hours straight in that chair is really tough. It's really tough to go sitting at office. But I have also seen that the productivity that you have, the productive work you're doing, the quality of work that you do, it grows immensely when you're working at office. You are really focused in that one thing. Whereas when you're at home, your mind can just go here and there a little, maybe focus on the food that is being served, going to kitchen, going down for a walk, whatever. But you are also not very focused when you're working at home. So personally, when I say that, is it good to work from home or work at office? Well, I have the liberty of working from office now. So I believe that working from office is a better thing for me. And back to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul, for such a wonderful speech. So I would be just taking a second speaker, like any raise of hands.
If no one goes, please call Toastmaster Deepak.
Okay, Deepak. Your topic is luck is a vital element of success. Luck is a vital element of success. Toastmaster Deepak.
Yes. Right. Oh, just a second. I forgot to turn on the timer. Yeah. Now, how many of you knows Bill Gross? He's not so gross, by the way. His name is just Gross. So he's a really famous investor who has invested in a lot of startups like Instagram and YouTube as well, including Uber. So he did a study, also research on all these startups to figure out what is that one factor that affects the most in the success of a startup. Can you guess what it was? Okay, I know since the topic is luck, a lot of you must be thinking it luck, and some of you thinking, it's money. Some of you it's business model. It's uh, a great team. But actual factor was not luck. It was not money, not team, but the timing. The timing of when the app was introduced in the market. Was the market ready for that product? For example, YouTube was not the only one which introduced online streaming, online video. There were platforms before that, but they all failed because the market was not ready, the technology was not ready. Same thing with Facebook. Facebook was successful, but it was not the only social media. But when it was introduced, they had a perfect timing. Similar things with the Uber and the Airbnb. They were introduced at the time when people were ready to lend their own car, their own home, because they wanted money. So it's not luck, it is time that plays the most important factor for most of the successes. That's it. Thank you. And back to you.
Thank you to Toastmaster Deepak. I believe luck is very crucial for our success if we do not believe it also. Like it's the most important part. The third speaker, I can see Raghav raising his hand. Just a second. So, Toastmaster Raghav, your topic is a penny saved is a penny earned. A penny saved is a penny earned. Toastmaster Raghav.
Have you all noticed that when there's a leakage in any of our taps, that a small drop is very small drop is dropping every night. The whole night, one drop is dropping. We think, yaar, jaane do, kya hoga? Leave it. Not much water will be wasted. But when in the morning we get up and go to the washroom, we notice that the full bucket has been filled with water. That is the thing. Every penny that we save, every penny earns and gives us back a lot of things. It's not only in the money term. Suppose you want to achieve something after 5 years and you think you're not a very fast mover, so you plan to do something. Now, I am a person who cannot take very drastic steps. So I take small steps every day. These small steps will bring me success after 5 years. These small steps will look like large, a huge jump from where I was standing. People should not underestimate the power of small steps, the power of penny. Because every penny saved will give you a lot of returns if we have patience. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghav, for such a wonderful speech. It was like a prepared speech. So the next speaker, I can see Oshika, a guest showing his hand. So your topic is, which is your favorite festival and why? Which is your favorite festival and why? Guest Oshika.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for the topic. Firstly, I would like to say I'm not a guest anymore. I have become a Toastmaster. So, yeah, that's one thing. So, my favorite festival, being a Bengali, has to be Durga Puja. Like, there cannot be any doubt to it. If you're a Bengali, you like Durga Puja. And I remember that since I was like very young, I think like when I was really a toddler, when I would not even be allowed to go out of my house, I remember, like, I don't remember, but I've seen pictures and my parents tell me that the first time they took me out of the house was during Durga Puja. So you can imagine that the first time I saw the outside world was during Durga Puja. So I have really great memories related to Durga Puja. I remember that when I was like in my second or third standard, I would convince my father to take me out during Durga Puja, and we would like go pandal hopping for like hours and hours on the go. And that would give me like, that would pique my happiness, and that would just make me so elated that it would be the best part of my year. So no doubt the Durga Puja is my best festival. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Oshika, for such a wonderful speech. Um, Next show of hands. I can see Komal raising her hand. So your topic is homeschooling beneficial or harmful to children? Is homeschooling beneficial or harmful to children? Toastmaster Komal.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for that topic. I personally believe it cannot be more harmful. My younger sister is in college, so I can totally relate with how harmful it is. There is no level of education that they are providing. She sleeps through 3 hours of college, even though she calls herself a Zavarian. I can see no knowledge that is being passed on to the children. The teachers, I believe, I am not demeaning anyone, but are or should be more enthusiastic, because all I see is 150 students in one class and one teacher speaking from Wikipedia. And all what is being done is being memes are being shared. Recently, my sister shared a meme of a teacher of his wife being in the frame and sort of doing an unprofessional, non accepted behavior on screen, and a meme was made out of it. And instead of studying economics and accounts, that is what they were learning. So I believe homeschooling is not something that should be uh, followed. Even my niece, who is 5 year old, is unable to concentrate because she wants to play with her friends and not virtually applaud. The only beneficial thing that has been for me during this lockdown is only Toastmasters, where even virtual applauses mean something. So, not homeschooling, but public speaking online has been a great experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Komal. I agree with you, because my younger sister, she just goes on a drive with her friends and she enjoys the three hours class. Like, I feel jealous if she does this. Like, so a next show of hands. Okay, Toastmaster Anam.
Yes.
So your topic is, do introverts make great leaders? Do introverts make great leaders? Toastmaster Anam.
Thank you for the topic. Do introverts make great leaders? As an extrovert, I don't know. I mean, I am in a bit of a conflict here. But then you see, that is a very subjective opinion, because leadership, I don't think necessarily has to do entirely with whether you are an introvert or an extrovert. One of the key quality that is required in leadership is being able to motivate and persuade people and to make them follow you. So for that, you need to be, you need to have that networking skills. And introverts, okay, I understand they like to be in their bubble. And yes, there are some people, there could be some exceptions where people who have been introverts and who haven't who keep to themselves, like, one fine day you see that they just come out and they've made something as a name for themselves, like work hard in silence and let the success make the noise, goes for them. But that I think is very rare, because what is important, especially in the time that we are living in, networking skills is very important. You have to get out there, you have to use the social media and every other platform to show yourself. Okay, it is very important. You have to realize, because you see everyone is using this platform to get out there and to interact. So what is important right now for any form of success or for leadership, mainly for leadership, is networking skills, which I think extroverts have more than introverts. So I think uh, it is important to be able to speak out like that. Thank you. Back to you, tabletop.
Toastmaster Anam. So, next show of hands. Or do I choose anyone? Um, I'll choose Gurpreet for the next topic.
Sure.
Your topic is translation technology will replace the need to learn a language. Translation technology will replace the need to learn a language. Over to you, Toastmaster Gurpreet.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for that amazing topic. Good evening once again to one and all. Language, ladies and gentlemen, is a medium of communication. Language, ladies and gentlemen, is an emotion that connects hearts. Language, ladies and gentlemen, is that music that breaks all barriers. And we are talking about how translation technology is going to replace learning of languages. 250 years from now, ladies and gentlemen, and I say this, I might not be here, you might not be here, but there is nothing like language, and translation technology is just something that might happen, but I bet that's not going to replace language. Because language is something that had united mankind. There was a time when human beings were not human beings, we were apes. We didn't have language, but ladies and gentlemen, over the years, we have developed it to our advantage to be able to communicate, to be able to express what we feel, be it love, be it sorrow. And this language has enabled us to do it over the ages. And translation technology, yes, it might happen. We are in the progress. We might achieve it someday, but can you do without language? Can we have a Toastmasters meeting, ladies and gentlemen, without language? How would we translate this Friday 7 p.m. meetings with the help of translation technology? That is something out of the textbook. I think me and the table topic master can discuss about it at some point of time. But at the end of the day, I stick to my opinion. Language is an emotion. Let it be, and let it be. Over to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gurpreet, for such an insightful speech. I would now I would hand over to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Rahul. Thank you for this wonderful thing.
Thank you so much, our table topic master. Can we keep it going for Toastmaster Anisha? Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anisha, for that diverse range of topics.
Thank you.
Now, one of the key things that stood out for me in this book, The Millionaire Next Door, was a concept about net worth. We all read about net worth. Bill Gates has this much net worth. Jeff Bezos is, if you just multiply someone else's net worth with someone else's net worth, you get Jeff Bezos' net worth. We read about net worth so many times. Right? We also know what net worth means: assets, liabilities. That's it. But have you tried to understand that? What is your net worth? How much are you worth? And more than that, how much you should be worth? There was a key formula that was a highlight of that book, and that really stood out for me. I couldn't really calculate my net worth because I don't earn right now. But for all those who are earning, I have this formula ready for you that I don't want to know what your net worth is, but I want you guys to figure out what your net worth should be. So let me just share my screen and I will show you what this formula is. Just a second. Okay, I think I'll share my screen just a second. This is how the formula goes by. Your expected net worth is equals to your annual household realized income from all sources except any inheritances. So if you got it from your forefathers, don't consider that. Before deducting tax, into age, into 1 by 10. I can't see you all right now because I'm sharing screen, but I hope that you're just having a close look at this formula. And you yourselves are trying to determine that how much you should be worth. I will tell you why I'm trying to explain this formula right now, but just have a look and I'll be removing the screen in just 10 seconds.
Everyone can also take screenshot of this. And if you want, Rahul has also written a blog. If you ask him, he will give you a link of it.
I stopped sharing my screen now. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deepak. You're too much into PR and marketing. I see that. Well, when we see this formula, I'm not trying to give you a maths class right now, but the reason why I want you to understand that what your net worth should be is because when you know where do you really stand, you can figure out where you want to stand now. There are 3 terms that were really important in this book. That goes like an under accumulator of wealth, an average accumulator of wealth, and a prodigious accumulator of wealth. You know what your net worth is, what should be, and you also know what your net worth is. If that is below, if your actual net worth is below where you should be, you are an under accumulator of wealth. If it is around where, if your net worth is around where it is supposed to be, you are an average accumulator of wealth. And if your net worth is above where your net worth should be, you are a prodigious accumulator of wealth. I say that this is a very important term because this can help you in planning your finances for the future. You know where you stand and you know where you want to stand. So take this opportunity to understand how you're going to manage your finances now and take yourself to that position where you lead a comfortable life, a life where you've planned for everything you want to plan for, maybe retirement, your future education, and whatever it is that is in your mind. And use this formula that I gave you to find that place where you want, find that wealth bracket where you want to be. Well, there were a lot more things that was there in this book, but it was a 400-page book. I really cannot put down everything in this Toastmasters session, but the book's name is The Millionaire Next Door, and I would suggest each and every one of you to read it, or maybe read a review or an article about it. So to take the meeting forward, to bulldoze into the heart of every Toastmasters meeting, I would now like to hand over, and I'm done from my side, I would now like to hand over the podium to our general evaluator, Toastmaster Achyut Todi. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Rahul, for sharing with us few insights as to what one should keep in mind as they try to achieve success. Maybe become a millionaire if you put in the right amount of effort. This piqued our interest, and what Rahul did amazingly well was make sure that he's giving you enough snippets. He showed you a trailer of the 400-page book, but the hard work is in all of our hands. To continue learning more about how we can improve further, yes, Toastmaster Rahul.
Toastmaster Achyut, Toastmaster Deepak's Wi-Fi connection is giving some problem. So I'll be timing the evaluators from here on. So yeah, I was just saying you can pin me if you start speaking or evaluating. You can pin me.
Sure, great. Thank you so much. So jumping right into the evaluation session, we're going to have first the lead evaluators share their feedback. Just reiterating the concept that we want to try, I would like the club for us to try today. During the evaluation section, you will call one person from the audience for each speaker. Once the lead evaluator wraps up their feedback, anyone can volunteer. I'd just like to reiterate, we already have volunteers for Toastmaster Raghav and Toastmaster Gurpreet. So one slot for volunteering to give feedback for Toastmaster, Prajwal is still open. With this, moving to the first evaluator for the first speaker, let's call upon Toastmaster Piyush Jain.
Thank you, General Evaluator, and good evening once again to everyone. The speaker started with such a great enthusiasm. He instantly grabbed my attention with the confidence of his start. As the speaker moved on, the flow of the speech was perfect. And on the point, personal examples made the speech more interesting. While delivering the speech, he was very confident with his hand movements as well. So I was there when the speaker delivered his first icebreaker speech, and he has improved a lot from there. But in Toastmaster, we believe that there is always scope for improvement. And therefore, there are few recommendations that I would like to give the speaker. First, and the most important thing, there was continuous desk thumping sound coming throughout of his speech. It was quite audible as well. It happens when you are a little nervous. I used to do hand clapping, and yeah, I used to do it in many speeches, and it took me time to phase out this habit. So it will take time, but you should really focus on that. Vocal variety, the second recommendation. Vocal variety is always the most important thing in grabbing the audience attention. From the Arnab Goswami level to the DD News anchor level, you should know where to fluctuate your vocal variety. And it really ups the game. So your speech was very interesting in itself, but a few vocal variety could have really upped the game. During the speech, the speaker mentioned about a questionnaire, and he was talking about something that where he got to know about his communication style, and he talked about the questionnaire, and he did not give the reference because he literally said that I got it from the questionnaire there. Questionnaire where? I am a Toastmaster. I know there are few tasks that you have to do pre-speech in every project to prepare yourself for the better speech. But guests do not know that. So whenever you are speaking about something, you should give a proper reference or do not speak about that. And the last but not the least, the abrupt ending. Your speech was fantastic, but the ending was very low. Your ending was literally like, and thank you. You could have ended with a quote. You could have ended with, many things. It was not at all impactful. Like, you are the mentee of Toastmaster Siddharth Churiwal, and the one thing he always emphasizes on is you start your speech with your end. If the end goes well, then the whole speech goes well. Overall, the speaker had a great start, immense amount of confidence, solid content with the personal examples. With a few recommendations, I know that the speaker can go really well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Piyush, uh, for the meticulous take. Before I share my further thoughts, we have the volunteer to share thoughts on the speech by Toastmaster Raghav. Toastmaster Komal, the stage is yours for a minute.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Achyut. Toastmaster Raghav, I thought you really met the project guidelines, the objectives. The content was really strong. That is one thing that I loved. But there are two things that I would like to suggest so that you can implement in your further speeches. One is that I think you went a little fast. You ended the speech in about 5 minutes or so when the green card was up. There were less amount of pauses in your speeches. For example, there was a moment when you said that you had to get some work done by your staff, but the sentence that you used was, the work they did was, what I was expecting was good or wonderful, but you said the work they did was pathetic. So if you would have used a certain amount of pause there, I think the sense of it would have come out better. And the second thing, the second sentence that you used was, without trust, there cannot be any relationship. Even that, the tone was like very bland. I think you could have said that with more gusto. That's all. Thank you from my side.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Komal, for your insights. Uh, Quickly, just sharing a point of feedback for Toastmaster Raghav, for Toastmaster Piyush. Uh, Piyush, your evaluation was meticulous, and it. I'm sure Raghav had a lot of takeaways from it. One thing which I would love to see you do in your future evaluations is also give a lot of examples for the commendation side. On the whole, I think your evaluation tripped a little towards more recommendations than commendations. And we'd love to try our best to motivate the speakers and also reinforce what they've done well so that they can do so in future speeches. Uh, with this, we would move to the evaluator of the second speech, that is Toastmaster Naren evaluating the speech by Toastmaster Gurpreet.
Good evening, Toastmasters guests, and especially our speaker for the day, second speaker for the day, Toastmaster Gurpreet. Toastmaster Gurpreet, love thy neighbor. You definitely piked my interest up to love my neighbor after your persuasive speech. I would say overall, you have definitely done the job of persuading the audience, I would say. And here's a few things that you did really well, I think. So the number one thing, the objective of your speech was to persuade the audience to believe or to do something. And we often miss this. When we want to persuade people, we get into the emotion aspects of things. But what you did was very smart. You started with humor. Because as soon as you started with humor and everybody was laughing, everybody's kind of on your side, is on the speaker side. And then later on, you pulled in that request of persuading the audience to love thy neighbor. And I think that was a fantastic way to structure your speech and go about the process of persuading the audience. So kudos to you for doing that. Uh, the intro of your speech in itself was so grabbing because you used the camera in an innovative way. I don't think I've seen a lot of speeches where people are using and handling the camera, and it seems like something is going wrong. So everybody is really interested, and then you fix it and you make it part of your speech. So kudos to using the selfie camera as part of your prop for the speech. I don't think I've seen that, so that's very innovative. And thirdly, I loved when some of the gestures that you used. You said, trust me, and you did this classic promise sign that we do in India. Or you said the optimum drone when you're talking about the maids, and you made it look like the drone. So these are the couple gestures that were very unique and not just normal gestures that I'm talking about. So these are some things that you did extremely well, the way you structured your speech, the way you used your gestures, and how you used the selfie camera as a prop innovatively. Even though very tough for me to find what you could work upon, here are 2 points that I have that you could work upon. Number one, Toastmaster Gurpreet, you have a very high and energetic voice, and that is amazing, and that keeps the audience hooked. But here's what I would say. Sometimes, if you were to lower your voice and almost a whisper, that might give the audience a nice break in between the high energy of the speech and might also add variety to the tonality that the audience is listening. I've heard this quote once that says, if you want people to listen, say something loudly, but if you want people to really listen, say something very softly. So I think that's something that you could also use. And the second thing, this is me nitpicking really because the speech was so fantastic, was the background. You could have probably picked a background where the background was just plain like where you are right now, because the way the camera was placed, I could see an angle in the back. So that was probably not as simple for the eye to follow because there was a door angle and 2 walls. So it's probably best not to have an angle in the background as opposed to a straight background. Overall, you had a fantastic speech. 3 great things that I noticed: use of the camera, great energy start, and use of gestures. And overall, I think you could work upon your vocal tonality and the background angle. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Naren, for sharing your view on Toastmaster Gurpreet's speech. I have a ping from Toastmaster, from guest Akash Patnaik, I believe, who wanted to share his thoughts about Toastmaster Gurpreet's bombshell of a speech.
Thank you, General Evaluator. This is not an evaluation, it's just a brief remark actually. When I saw Mr. Gurpreet in this when he started the speech, I could draw a parallelism from, like, if you've seen Dictator, the movie The Dictator, Sacha Baron Cohen. I could draw a similarity. I don't know whether it is in terms of his style of speaking or whether it was his accent that he brought out. But whatever it was, it was really refreshing. And I think I give you two thumbs up for it actually, because I think no one could have pulled that kind of a thing. I think because I mean that really took me back to my hostel days when during nights we used to watch that movie on a loop and we used to laugh in the same intensity. So that's it. It's just a humorous remark, not an evaluation.
Thank you so much, Akash. In fact, I'd love to draw a point from your point of feedback, and here's why I consider it an evaluation. We have all the Toastmasters here looking at an evaluation checklist: structure, content, spacing. We are boxed in to our perspective, and what you said was refreshing in a way, because Sacha Baron Cohen is known for his spontaneity. He is supposed to be humorous, but his message is immensely powerful. And when you drew that when you draw that parallel of a comparison of Toastmaster Gurpreet with Sacha Baron Cohen, that shows the kind of trait with Toastmaster Gurpreet showing. So I would think it's a brilliant point of evaluation, and had any evaluator picked something like this, it would be a very refreshing take on our evaluation. So that's something which Toastmaster Gurpreet has to learn, and all of us at KTM also have to learn from you. Thank you so much, Akash. With that, just my 2 cents on the speaker, Toastmaster Gurpreet. Your energy was spot on. I have to reiterate this because it totally blew it out of the water. But my job here is to challenge you to grow. And I think your speech was a little disbalanced because you were supposed to persuade us as an audience. This is my take on it, and I might be wrong because I don't stand in your shoes. But you were supposed to persuade us to love our neighbors. And given the satire, and given the humor, and given the substance of delivery with examples on the side where you were giving the satirical take, it felt like the bulk of your speech, the better part of 5 minutes, was focused on that, creating that ground. So when you finally gave the message of why we should love our neighbors, I didn't have any examples. So while there is a message which I take away from your speech, which is I should love my neighbors, all I can think about are all the reasons which you elaborated so vividly for not to love my neighbors, not because how I could love my neighbors. So maybe just shifting 30 to 40 seconds from that half to the second and substantiating your message with an example or a story in your own unique, powerful way would make this a 10 on 10 for me. With that, I have a couple of points for the evaluator, Toastmaster Naren. Naren, your delivery was smooth. It was like a prepared speech. And this is something which you've been practicing on various avenues. So I know that this works well. And it was, again, well done today. I would like a point of recommendation to sort of challenge you. You spoke a lot on the delivery of Toastmaster Gurpreet's speech. But two more important components, and the reason I say more important is because delivery is something which it's relatively easier to fix, but something like structure and content, these aspects of one's speech are more integral, and I would love for you in your future evaluations to scope those out. Now I know it was probably not easy because Gurpreet gave a brilliant speech today, but trying harder to share at least one point across these would help make your evaluations more fruitful. This is just nitpicking. With this, I would like to move to the evaluator of the third speaker, which is I. I will be evaluating Toastmaster Prajwal. Okay, so just trying to transition and take a break. Wait, okay. Toastmaster Prajwal, good evening, everyone, and specifically our speaker number 3, Toastmaster Prajwal. You delivered an informative speech expounding on the various styles of communication, and you shared that with us as you were exploring your own journey. You were exploring your own style of communication. From the project perspective, your first objective, which is to learn and identify your style of communication, I think it was satisfactorily met. because you did tell us that what your style of communication is. However, the second project, which is the impact on others, I think it was not clear, and I'll elaborate reasons as to why it was not further. Now moving on from this speech from your project, I loved your opening. You asked a question which piqued the interest of the audience. You stepped this up a notch further by listening to an answer from Toastmaster Rahul, which it didn't seem to me as staged, and then you handled it well. So you got off to a good controlled start. Then the effort and preparation was a second point which stood out for me. I could see the amount of research you've put in, and you substantiated that with a personal story. This was great, meaningful content. And finally, what I think you did brilliantly well as point number 3 was the closing. You got a grip on what you wanted to say from your body, and then summarized it in a couple of lines to what it meant for the audience. Because until your conclusion, the speech was largely more about you exploring your journey. But it wasn't clear to me as an audience what I could do. But your closing sort of managed that, which was great. Now here, I would like to switch gears and come back to what I think you can do to take your evaluation to take your speech to the next level. First, I think the body of your speech, your opening and closing were great, but the first half of your body felt too descriptive. It seemed to me like you were a victim of your own problem, which you were describing, because you elaborated on those 4 points. And to be honest, I sort of lost track there. I could have been a little muffled today because of the various role I'm double hatting. But despite that, I just felt too much substance, which was great from a research and project point of view. But did the audience really need to hear everything with such jargon? That's a question you need to ask yourself. The second thing were pauses. You did have pauses in your speech. They were great, but I think they were not so well placed. One example would be when you were describing those 4 points, you went on after point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, this is how it applies to my life. And that's how I heard it. The 1.5 minutes were a blur for me. So I'd love for you to take a step back, maybe reduce content and include a pause there. The third point was eye contact. You put in so much effort, so much power in your speech, but I, for the large majority, could see you looking like this. So I was like, where is Prajwal looking? What is he looking at? I missed, if you spoke into the camera with depth, it would be brilliant. Summarizing, I think your project objectives are partially met. Your opening and closing were good, but your body can be better, which will come with practice. So this was a job well done, but can be done better. And best of luck to you, Toastmaster Prajwal. Sorry. With that, these were my remarks as an evaluator, as a lead evaluator for Toastmaster Prajwal. I would love to open the floor to the audience, anyone, a guest or a member, to share any other points which they may have for Toastmaster Prajwal's speech. I'm looking up very hopefully. Please do share any points of feedback if there is. Toastmaster Rahul, I can see your finger raised, please.
When I was looking at his speech, there was something which I have noticed, not just in this speech, but in previous speeches as well, Toastmaster Prajwal's speeches, is that when he speaks, it seems that he's memorized the speech, right? It seems that he memorized the speech and he's speaking with a lot of space. Now, in a speech, for a speech to seem natural, that you haven't memorized, that it is your speech and you're just speaking naturally, that pace has to take, it has to have a good pace. It has to have a pace that people are not just trying to catch up to you. What you're saying, and by the time you're listening to it, you've moved on to another point. So I think the pace is something that you could have improved. But if there is one thing that really stood out for me in this speech was the amazing content that you had. Talking about communication, your communication style, and now talking about this problem of how people speak before thinking, where they should actually think before they think before speaking. And maybe a point that you could have added in your speech is about a ripple effect. That what happens is when someone thinks before speaking, doesn't think before speaking, they say things, but they don't realize the impact it has on other people, right? If I'm sitting over here, I have someone sitting over there, and I'm shouting blatantly. I'm just shouting, and there are others over there. So we don't understand that there is someone else also listening to us who is affected by our actions. And that is solely because of that improper communication that is done from our part. So I think that is something that you could have included in your speech, and I was really expecting when you asked that question to me that I am going to listen to this thing in your speech. But no, it was a great speech, and over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rahul, for sharing valuable insights which were not covered by evaluators and other people, and adding substance to this session. Without further ado, I would quickly like to move on to the evaluation team and the different role players to share their reports. First, can we have the timer Toastmaster Deepak?
So much, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, everyone, once again. I was the timer for the day and I timed everyone. Nobody timed out. So, congratulations, everyone. Give a applaud to yourselves and other fellow speakers.
Thank you so much. Yeah, with this, we would like to move on to the next role player. That is the R counter for the evening, Toastmaster Anna.
Thank you, General Evaluator. I will just present my report. So, Toastmaster Anisha Agarwal said a couple of times, so once and like twice. Toastmaster Achyut Todi said a couple of times and once. I'm so sorry. And Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari said twice, like once, and so once. Toastmaster Sumit Kumar said twice and once. Toastmaster Komal Choraria said a couple of times. Toastmaster Deepak Baid said once and so thrice. Toastmaster Naren Agarwal said twice. Toastmaster Piyush Jain said twice, so twice. Toastmaster Raghav Kedia said like twice and so once. Toastmaster Oishika Mazumdar said like twice and so once. Others had a smooth green line in my report. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, the teacher, for our Toastmasters meeting today. With this, we have our final role player who's double hatting two roles. Komal, can you first have the grammarian's report followed by the VAR counters, please?
Good evening once again, everybody. Please be patient with me because I have a lot written down. So Toastmaster Prajwal mentioned that to be an effective communicator and to be able to communicate without any error so that it reaches the other person, we must choose our words wisely. After all, there's a great lot of difference between nip in the butt and nip in the bud. So we have to be very careful with what we speak and how we speak and choose our words very carefully. I learned quite a few words today, which were flabbergasted, which means to be greatly surprised, unmatched, which means to be extraordinary, and it was used as unmatched skill, angelic, which means heavenly innocent, and it was used as an angelic smile. These were the words that I learned. The word of the day, peak, was used 4 times, once by Toastmaster Naren, once by Toastmaster Oishika, twice by Toastmaster Achu, and once by Toastmaster Gurpreet. They have added this word to their list. The good usages of words were, there are a couple of phrasal verbs and idioms that were used. The first one is to draw out, which means to make something last longer. The second one is on the go, which means to be very active or busy. To switch gears, which means to change the topic or to change what you're doing. A couple of good usages of language was the introduction was graving, which means to fix graving the word. It means to fix something in your mind. Stepped it up a notch further. That's all for the good usages of grammar. There are a couple of places where you can make sure that you change it the next time, which were every people should be every person. When you're using each and every, it should be singular. Here and there was a crutch word for me because I heard it more than 3 times in a speech and I felt that it could have been avoided. I can be able to, should have been, I was able to do it. He emphasized on, should have been, he emphasizes on. Mr. Toastmasters should be Mr. Toastmaster. It's a slight mistake, but you should keep in mind when you're introducing or acknowledging somebody. The word concept was pronounced as concept, so that can be corrected the next time. And the word peaked was pronounced as piked by somebody, so that can be corrected the next time. This is my grammarian's report. I'm so sorry. I think I'm going a little bit slow because I'm having some problem I have a sore throat today. So thank you for bearing with me. There are a couple of wow moments, more than 3, but I'm supposed to state only 3. The third wow moment for me is the meticulous report by Toastmaster Anam. It was it was easier for us to see the visual. So I felt like it was very well done, Anam. Thank you for that. The second one is Toastmaster Rahul's take on his topic, where he draw a comparison between saving every drop of water so that it fills in the morning to saving every penny and how it can make a difference. So that was a wow moment because to be able to think on your feet is not very easy for me. The first wow moment, I don't think there was any competition. A hero, our champ for today's day is Toastmaster Gurpreet. His start made me laugh. So anything that makes me laugh has to take the first place on the wow factor moment. I was literally laughing throughout his speech, and especially when he mentioned the a data fact about how 42% of the neighbors spy on you twice a week. I don't know if that's true, but that definitely made me laugh and left me amazed. And if I had to mention another wow moment, I would give it to myself because it is not very easy for me to raise my hand in a table topic session. So I'm very proud of myself today that I tried to speak, though I spoke, I don't know what, that the general evaluator is going to help me be better the next time. That's all from my side. Thank you very much. And I give the podium back to the general evaluator, Toastmaster Archit.
Thank you so much, Komal, for those the comprehensive grammarians report and for wrapping up our night with the moments which stood out for the meeting. I think an evaluation session is something which should be a positive experience. It's designed to help speakers. I'm sorry, I'm just reading out loud because I can't memorize this. But an evaluation session is a positive experience which should be designed to help speakers identify areas of improvement and add power to the good ones. The crux of this is that it should leave them motivated to show up for the next time whenever they're speaking. And it should actually leave them curious to come up and start speaking for it. Now, the Toastmaster, Deepak, our tech master, has shared the voting link. Now, what we'd like to do is, everyone please take a moment to vote. While all of us do that, I'll quickly just run through very briefly about the table topic speakers and their and some feedback for them. Sorry for no pauses because this is trying to be a rapid fire. Toastmaster Rahul had a very candid take on the topic, and I loved how it was so personal, so everyone could relate to it. I don't have an area of recommendation yet, but I will be more curious next time. Toastmaster Deepak had a very good concept of a product market fit, which was great. And I think, Deepak, your conclusion from that could be something which you could look towards, because I felt like you were reiterating the same point, paraphrasing it from one way to the other. You have the jargon on spot, so maybe not a lot of people could catch it, but I'm sure you did. So that. Then Toastmaster Raghav had a very composed opening and a speech, almost like and a message, almost like a personal prepared speech. But I think one thing which stood out in his prepared speech, what was missing in the table topic, was the lack of a personal story. It's not easy to come up with one, but if it's mentioned in a table topic, it takes it up a notch for sure. Toastmaster Oishika had a personal story, which was great. but I'm again nitpicking. Now, what she lacked was what Toastmaster Raghav had. She spoke about her childhood and why it was her favorite festival. But any speaker in Toastmaster or outside should focus on the concept of what's in it for the audience. Toastmaster Oishika, this is the first time, and I, as a speaker, I think it's a great challenge to come up. But you should also always try to generalize and think from the audience's perspective and speak a line or two. What would they draw away from your table topic speech? Next up, we had Toastmaster Komal, who took a stand, made a claim, and also gave a personal story. So it was substantially well done. But I think she took the easier route. Now, this is nitpicking because she had one example uh, of her sister and I think another relative, but you can't generalize. And in the pandemic, which is going to last for 18 months or so, homeschooling is probably what's going to last for a while. So is it that dismal, or did she wrap it up just for her table topic? Is something which she should question and provide a well-rounded speech next time. And this is just a claim to everyone else. We do have to take a stance, but we should always try to oppose our own stance and think and try to make it well-rounded. Finally, we had Toastmaster Anam, who had a very strong stance and a perfectly fitting quote. It flowed in smooth like butter. So I loved that quote in her table topic speech. And finally, we have Toastmaster Gurpreet, who had, I think this, for some reason, he's definitely prepared this table topic because his opening and his conclusion was so smooth. He used repetition to great effect, and it was almost dramatic. So sorry, but I have no points of recommendation. Gurpreet was brilliantly done. And Anisha, we loved your essaying of the role. You had amazing control and very good transitions. You were able to add value to most speakers in between while giving out the topics in the speeches. So yeah, that's all I have for the table topic session. And that's a wrap for the evaluation session. Thank you so much, everyone. And back to the president and the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Achyut. But even my stint as the president is over now. As Toastmaster Gurpreet is done with his speech, I would like to hand over the stand-in president, Toastmaster Gurpreet. And Toastmaster Achyut, before handing it over, you also missed evaluating the Sergeant Arms, the president, the Toastmaster of the day, the table topic master.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Do we have time for that? I thought you were running out of it. But
oh, we've got time. We're all at home only. Got time.
Okay, cool. So quickly running through that, and thank you for pointing it out, Toastmaster Rahul. The Sergeant at Arms started well on time, just as I loved that the fact that he started on time, although the crowd was not to full strength, which was great. And apart from that, it was the first meeting of the month, and he conducted the promise session, I think, in a very solemn manner because he made sure he got different people to read out the promise. So I loved that. I think one thing which Toastmaster, anyone who's been playing the Sergeant of Arms can always mention is the fact that we should use the chat box more judiciously. I think like I scared people off by my remark and we didn't see a lot of messages, but I think that's something which the Sergeant at Arms should always clarify at the start so the whole meeting flows well. Apart from that, then moving on to the president, Toastmaster Rahul, I think this was at short notice, but you held the role really well. And it was great for you to call upon the guests and introduce them in a way which I found to be more engaging than usual, given that most of our virtual meetings, it's difficult for a guest to come out. And that was very well done. Also, it was interesting because it could have been tempting for you to get onto your theme directly because you were also the Toastmaster of the day, but you resisted that and you held fort, which was very well done. These are most of the points I had. I know I've missed out on a few, but my papers and tables all over the place. So this is most of what I could manage. And Toastmaster Anisha, I think I already covered her points, but just reiterating one thing. Anisha, this is in recent times, this is one of the, I think this is your essaying of the table topics master role is a not so frequent one, but I loved the variation in your topic. You had topics which were easy to speak on. You also had some which were challenging. And the transitions you made, I think for half of the speakers, you had a good opinion, which was great. And it's not easy to come up with this. I would love for you to challenge yourself by making sure that you add one point to each speaker, and do it in a way where you are not using one of a crutch word. Now, this is not a typical crutch word, but I think the word wonderful is a sort of go-to word for you. Sorry, I use the word crutch word sort of, but it is a go-to word for you, which while you're thinking of what to speak or comment or share your perspective on, you just use it as a substitute. So this is something I've done for myself, and I can speak from practice. Challenge yourself to not use the word wonderful or any crutch word which you may have. And this is not for Toastmaster Anisha, but for anyone here. All of us have our own default words which we allude to. We should challenge ourselves to not use them and see what else we can come up with. Because the more we try to increase our diction, increase our vocabulary, that's wherein we will actually grow. Yeah, that's it. And with that, wrapping up my toast evaluation session, I think for the final time. Back to you, Toastmaster Gurpreet, president for today.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applause going for the general evaluator for this evening, Toastmaster Achyut Todi. It was indeed an insightful and constructive evaluation, Toastmaster Achyut. Now, I won't take much time. I think we had a long duration meeting, Dhanteras special probably. So just before I announce the results, a quick response from any of our guests. Please don't curse me, abuse me for this. Can we have a guest, please, to just share his or her feedback about this meeting, how you felt being a part of this meeting? Anyone? I see guest Nishi out here. Guest Nishi, would you like to share your feedback? Guest Shilpa. Anyone? Any of the guests?
Hello. Hi, Gurpreet.
Hello.
Shilpa here.
Yeah, please go ahead. Tell us how you felt about this meeting.
I had an amazing time being in this club. First of all, I saw your speech. It was amazing. It was humorous. It was energetic. Overall, I just loved the session today. And one more thing, I learned many words like the grammarian mentioned. I loved the way she mentioned everything about the speech. Thank you. Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guest Shilpa. I'm not going to have sleep tonight. I'm on cloud 9. So moving on, let's go on and declare the results. I will start with the best auxiliary role player. The best auxiliary role player goes to the girl with the sore throat. Unfortunate sore throat, but fortunate winner. It goes to Toastmaster Komal Choraria for this evening for playing double role. You know, we see that in Bollywood films. So here is Toastmaster Komal doing it, a double role as the grammarian as well as the wow counter. Congratulations, Toastmaster Komal.
Thank you, Gurpreet.
Moving on to the best role player for this evening. The best role player goes to the very meticulous man with his evaluations. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmaster Achyut Todi as the general evaluator for this evening.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Moving on to the best evaluator for this evening. The best evaluator for this evening goes to the calm and composed. He's not in the meeting, but we can convey it to him, Toastmaster Naren Agarwal. Toastmaster Naren Agarwal as the best evaluator for this meeting. Now the best table topic speaker. Any guesses? The best table topic speaker for this evening.
Can it be me, please? Can it be me?
When I ask for guesses, it has to be me. So Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh as the best table topic speaker for this evening. Moving on to the best speaker, but before that, the most improved speaker for this meeting, none other than our beloved, the sweet man with a lovely, cute smile, Toastmaster Raghav. Toastmaster Raghav is the most improved speaker. Congratulations, Toastmaster Raghav. And then moving on to the best speaker for this evening. The best speaker, again, any guesses?
Can it be me again?
It has to be me again. Thank you everyone so much. And congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to all the role players. Thank you. We had a brilliant time. Thank you for taking up the roles. And let's meet again next Friday. Same place as in Zoom. Same time, 7 p.m. next Friday. Good night. Take care, everyone.